So this past week in Culiacan, there was a whole set of shootouts, and apparently it's Los Chapitos versus El Ruso. And Los Chapitos, obviously they have their own faction, and El Ruso is security chief for El Mayo Zambada. They're from the same cartel. They're from the same group. They probably hung out together. Most likely they crossed paths often enough. But that just goes to show you that things can turn within a criminal group very fast. And it's not just this example. It's been other times where there's infighting within different cells, within a larger cartel, within the same cartel. And this happens often enough. Or the boss turns in his own people. People forget that happens a lot. And Mayo, for all the things that he does, bringing calm and making sure no other groups come into his area, I'll give him credit for that. He does. But at the same time, people forget he's been involved, or there's been rumors of him turning in his own people. I mean, it's mostly suspected that El Macho Prieto, El Ondeado, both of them were turned in by El Mayo. For whatever reason, they were giving him problems, and he said, screw it, let's let the authorities know where they are, and they can take care of the rest. Another example is back in the 80s, during the Guadalajara cartel days, Miguel Angel, the boss at the time, it's rumored that he gave up or made some kind of deal with the government where Rafael Caro Quintero would turn himself in, take the blame for Kiki Camarena's death, and business would go on as usual. Rafael Caro Quintero, to this day, he claims his innocence. But yeah, I mean, another example of back in the day is Amado Carrillo turning in or betraying Pablo Acosta, his mentor. Well, one of his mentors. Pablo Acosta was a seasoned trafficker that ran Ojinaga, and Amado linked up with him and, did business with him. And then at some point, he decided to take down Acosta and take over the plaza. You also have the rumors that El Mayo turned in El Chapo. Now, the first time El Chapo was caught, he was in Mazatlan. I mean, not the first time, but in 2014, he was in Mazatlan. And Mazatlan is Mayo Zambada's territory. So if anyone would know that there was an operation in place, or, you would think Zambada would have warned them. But, I mean, that's the talk. Knowing Zambada and his history of being involved with turning in people, I mean, and it's not just hearsay. I mean, look at his brother. El Rey Zambada was captured, I believe back in 2009, 2010, somewhere along there. He was extradited to the U.S., and during El Chapo's trial and other people's trial, El Rey was a star witness because he was right there at the top. That's Zambada's brother. And this guy handled huge shipments. Okay, so this guy wasn't some slouch. He was right there, and he testified against El Chapo. He testified against other people. I mean, the Zambada clan believes in, I guess, using the law to your own advantage, even if that crosses some street codes. And that, that comes back around to what's happening now in Culiacan. Los Chapitos are fighting El Ruso, a security chief for El Mayo Zambada. Word is that, the two groups have some kind of misunderstanding, and they're going at it. And the only reason that Ruso hasn't fallen yet is because El Mayo still supports him, is backing him. But, you never know. I mean, if the situation becomes untenable for El Mayo, he's likely to just say, screw it, I'll sacrifice El Ruso so that my business can keep going smoothly. So again, that's the thing. It's, all these corridos that sing about loyalty to the boss, loyalty this, loyalty that. There's no loyalty. A lot of times, not always. I mean, I'm sure there's family clans that have been rocking since forever, and their members get caught and they don't tell. But I mean, these cartels, the overall cartels, are just like corporations. You know, you don't know. You might work at a bank, but you don't know the chairman. You never even talked to the chairman of the bank, of the overall corporation. It's the same thing with the cartel. I mean, you might work for the cartel. You might be a gunman for it, work for it, but you've never necessarily met the boss. Um, so these people get into these shenanigans without the boss really knowing, and then there's this war. These shootouts happen, these mini wars happen, and the boss has to take a side eventually, or tell both groups to just calm the fuck down. But if bosses can get snitched on, anyone can. And while the bosses might expect loyalty from you, you know, you can't really guarantee. You can't really have too much faith in the boss having loyalty to you. But yeah, man, that's what's going on in Culiacan right now. Two groups from the same cartel going at it. El Chapo's sons going against El Ruso. You can't trust no one in these cartels. It's been proven that they do backstab each other. And that's just the way the game is played. I'll catch you next time. Casquillo.